Recording in progress. Good. Okay, well, the recording machine says it's in progress, so we can go ahead and start here. Let me reshare what I already started to share.
It says this meeting is being recorded and continued or something.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully, oh, this is really fudgy. Okay. So again, welcome to the Butterworth Center. Those of you that are here in the room, welcome. And those of you that are joining virtually, you're welcome as well. This is the Butterworth Center here in Moline, which is one of the John Deere mansions that was built probably around, I don't know, 1880s, something like that. I think probably is what this date's from. Gale.
Yes.
Gale. And our club is Popular Astronomy Club. We were founded in 1936
with this mouse.
And this is a hybrid meeting tonight, and by hybrid that means we're attempting here to do Zoom and in person at the same time. What's going on here?
We got it.
We
got it.
It's handled.
Spray window closed.
Okay, good. So we're going to have a talk from the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers, and our guest speaker, I'll introduce him in a moment. Matthew Will is our speaker, and we'll let him go ahead, and after I made his introduction, we'll go ahead and let him speak, and then after he's done, we will have a short business meeting. Hopefully it's short. For those of you that don't want to sit through a boring business meeting, then you can drop off. We have invited a number of people from around the region, and you can see here. I'm not going to read them all off, but I think I've captured just about everybody's name here in the club. What's going on here?
We have somehow need to bring this back
Okay.
up. Roy must have
Roy
jumped
dropped
off
off.
and is trying to join again.
Okay, we'll get him on.
Yeah, I'm trying to join on the computer. I can't get in. I'm on the phone now, but I'm trying to join with the computer.
Oh,
Yeah, okay, we'll have to, I'll get you here as soon as you get on, Roy.
Okay.
it indicates you're joining now.
You're joining, you're not on yet, so we'll try to get you when you come on. Unfortunately, I can't do anything now. You got to get out of this screen.
Yeah, minimize that window.
Okay.
Let's see the rest of it.
Okay, so what I would like to do is introduce tonight's speaker, Matthew Will. He's the Secretary and Treasurer of the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. He's been a member since 1973, so that's quite a while. And he's served a number of posts. He was, I need to move something here so I can read all this. He helped coordinate the ALPO Lunar and Planetary Training Program with Tim Robertson, who's the current coordinator, and he did that in the mid to late 90s and early 2000s. Matt became ALPO board member in 1998, so he's served in that capacity for quite a while. In 2001, Matt began serving as ALPO's membership secretary and its treasurer. And in 2004, he became the corporate secretary of the group. So he's held some nice posts through the years, 48 years of membership. And during that time, he's enjoyed making visual drawings of Mars, Saturn, Moon, and other solar system objects. So he's received a lot of support over the years from ALPO staff for his observations, and that instilled a sense of pride in him and also for the people of ALPO and their programs, for which Matt now in turn contributes his services as an officer in the ALPO to preserve and promote the organization. So tonight's program is about the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. And this is basically an overview of that organization, what they do, and maybe we can become involved. So I guess what I'd like to do here is jump out of my talk here, or my slideshow here, and let me double check and see if Roy's back in. Roy, are you okay?
Yep, I got back in and I canceled my phone, so I'm on computer now.
Okay, good. All right. So is everybody okay here? If we are, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Matthew Will. And what do I need to do here? I need to make you, give you permission.
Yeah, he should have already have permission to share.
Have you got
Okay,
permission? You got permission, Matthew?
okay, I'll hit the share screen button here
Okay.
and okay, and I'll go to slideshow.
Take it away.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay. All righty. This is an introductory talk about the ALPO. Every year I try to do a retread of these introductory presentations, and today's theme is is basically the same as it's always been in past presentations that I've done. I'm entitling today's presentation "The Dimensions of the ALPO," and it's just a representation of its members and what the ALPO represents to its membership and to the broader astronomical community. And this is kind of a co-creation between Carl Hergenrother, who is our Associate Executive Director and will be the Executive Director this coming August. He's also the Comet Section Coordinator. And we've kind of batted this presentation back and forth, and this is my readjustment of it to keep it fresh and up to date. I'd like to start off by talking about observing lunar and planetary phenomena. The changing aspects of lunar and planetary phenomena go back further than the creation of the ALPO in 1947. As a matter of fact, our future founder then in 1942, Walter H. Haas, had already assembled a network of observers informally, maybe a dozen or so, and was reporting various kinds of studies to the popular journals of the day. And Walter wrote a provocative scientific paper entitled "Does Anything Ever Happen on the Moon?" back in 1942. This paper appeared in the Journal of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, and the paper evaluated historic and current observations, some 7,000 observations up to that point, some going back to the 19th century, about that were made of lunar features that seem to be exhibiting changes on the moon's surface. This paper wasn't a debunking operation of anomalous observation, nor was it a validation of a particular theory about lunar geology. The paper just critically examined the observing techniques and the value of new observational data about the moon. And this is sort of what the ALPO is really all about. Changing, evolving aspects of lunar and planetary observation has always been in the forefront of solar system astronomy, and is in the spirit of scientific inquiry and investigation that amateur observations and the changing aspects of solar system bodies and associated phenomena are really at the core of the ALPO's mission. And this presentation is to give a better understanding of the ALPO, and perhaps you might be interested in joining by the end of this presentation. The mission of the ALPO is not that complicated. Generally, we're around to promote, stimulate, and coordinate regular and systematic investigations of solar and now possibly other solar systems with equipment and methods normally available to the amateur astronomers. We are also, our mission is to facilitate an exchange of techniques, information, and observing data to provide a forum for discussing ideas and observing techniques, to help individual observers develop observing and reporting skills through relevant training, to analyze observing data and publish findings in our quarterly journal and elsewhere, to encourage cooperation between amateur and professional astronomers, and also to provide a repository for the history of solar system observations. From its humble beginnings in 1947, under the direction of founder Walter H. Haas, the ALPO grew into the multifaceted organization that we find today. Today, the ALPO has approximately 28 different observing programs spread over 18 different sections, with a growing staff of 40 volunteer coordinators collecting amateur observations of solar system bodies and phenomena, and analyzing them and reporting findings of such observations and periodic reports in our own quarterly journal. Our observing sections involving, let me see if I can get something down here first. Okay, this might be a little better. Observational sections involving, we have observational sections involving major planets, asteroids, comets, meteors, the sun, the moon, and other solar system phenomena. Section and program coordinators that lead these sections and programs collect and study submitted observations, correspond with observers, are especially good at encouraging beginners, and contribute reports quarterly to our Journal of the ALPO, and maintain an online archive of these observations. In there, you see all of our major observing sections in the ALPO. You might think of this as our first dimension, so to speak, one of many dimensions within the ALPO. It's what we have at our core, our observing programs, and includes all the major planets, the minor planets, also comets, meteors, and meteorites that fall to the ground for our rock hounds in the ALPO, in addition to a couple of sections that actually cover events like transits and eclipses. And I'm proud to say we're now boasting our own exoplanet section, which I'll talk about a little bit more in the presentation. If we have a second dimension, it's been our publications section that's responsible for the Journal of the ALPO, in addition to something we call the ALPO monograph series. These are longer papers. They're too long to run in the journal, but are produced for downloading off of our website. If we have and that's pretty much the ALPO was a two-dimensional organization until the mid-1990s, when the ALPO founded its own website and later on its Facebook and Twitter pages. I'll talk a little bit more about the ALPO website in the presentation. We also have, as a fourth dimension, so to speak, a outreach section, which handles, among other things, training for novice observers. And I'll talk about the training program just a little later, and also a program to involve youth and to bring them along in solar system astronomy, as well as podcasts that we have, and I'll talk about those a little later. And also we're proud to say that we have our own YouTube channel with materials people can actually watch, and I'll talk a little bit more about that also. If we have a fifth dimension, it might be the area that I dwell in, and that is as Secretary and Treasurer, making sure that our finances are correct, and I'm keeping the books, and also making sure that our legal filings every year are done properly, as well as keeping our membership happy. But this is kind of, if I go into it anymore, it would be kind of like taking a tour of a luxury liner and starting off with the engine room. All the fun is up at the top deck. So let's go up to where the swimming pool, the food, drink, and games are located. But first, I want to say something up front. The question is often asked, do I have to observe for the ALPO to become a member? No, certainly not. Most simply like to read the journal and keep current on lunar and planetary astronomy. As a matter of fact, as one amateur put it, in terms of the content of the Journal of the ALPO, also known as a strolling astronomer, is where Sky and Telescope leaves off. Let's talk a little bit about the journal. It's published quarterly, so you get 4 issues over the course of a year. It started out as a, believe it or not, a mimeograph newsletter in 1947. And the ALPO and its journal took off like wildfire. And within a few short years, a charter membership of 40 expanded to membership of close to 400 members. And with a slicker publication, it was coming out bi-monthly by that time. It eventually evolved into a quarterly publication. One of the first things you'll find when you turn the first few pages of the ALPO journal, you'll find section news, and there's usually a rundown for just about every section on the latest occurrences in lunar and planetary astronomy, or there could be some organizational news within those observing sections or other sections that would be of interest to our membership. But I think the hallmark of our journal is, of course, the apparition reports, and the apparition is simply the season where a planet in particular would be visible to visual observers as well as imagers. Anymore, an apparition can be practically conjunction to conjunction for people that use CCD imaging and can focus and train their cameras on a planet long after it's really visible to the naked, to the visual observer visualizing the planet through the telescope. But these apparition reports in a broader definition are also include possibly the passage of a comet that may come through, and we will have a report on that a few months after it's visible, like we had with Neowise last year. It could cover an event like a lunar or solar eclipse, or the close passage of an asteroid, or other ongoing studies such as those with the lunar section. Our lunar section is divided into, maybe if you wanted to really split hairs, maybe up to 8 different observing programs that look at one aspect of lunar studies or another, but these aren't time limited, so we have frequent reports in our journal at almost any time about a lunar program, and current studies are going on. And of course, I think the 2 factors, or the 2 aspects that really make these apparition reports special, is they're loaded with information and content you just don't get anywhere else. And we also recognize our observers, and you will see a list of contributing observers with every apparition report. If you contribute observations to our observing sections, you will be recognized for doing so. We also have feature articles, and they can be about observing techniques or advice on using instrumentation. Particularly, we've had some recent articles on state-of-the-art type of amateur observations that are being done with the moon using thermal infrared imagers now, which have been around for a while at the professional level, but are now being actively used by amateurs in much the same way CCD imaging was used in the early 1990s. And it's the series of reports on this imaging with thermal infrared imagers is just fascinating. And we also have some commentary articles about the latest trends in lunar and planetary astronomy, whether it's new observing techniques or generally getting others interested in how organizations can grow their membership, and other fascinating topics about just the general state of amateur astronomy. And also we do have previews of upcoming events, such as when we have the next Mars apparition in 2022, we'll probably have a preview of that sometime in 2021. And there are other events like meteor showers, et cetera, that they can be previewed, and we can get an article in the journal. We certainly do that. And of course, our journal is offered either on paper or in digital format. So if you become a paid ALPO member, you can receive the paper issue or digital. There are various benefits to getting the digital that you can't get with the paper. Two of which are the digital is in color. Unfortunately, the black and white we can only print, or the paper we can only print in black and white. At least we do have a color cover on it, but because of being overly, we have to price the membership higher. We're keeping it in black and white for the time being. And also with the digital journal, you can click on links that you can't obviously do if you have a paper copy of the journal. And well, what's in our most recent issue? I'll give you a little bit of a preview. Maybe this might entice you to become a paid member of the ALPO. First of all, we have our point of view editorial column, which our own editor, Sean Dills, reviews the state of amateur astronomy, what got us interested for some of us old folkies like myself that grew up with in the 1960s and 70s that followed amateur astronomy or were influenced by the space program, what is influencing amateurs now, what will influence them in the future. It's a fascinating and interesting editorial to read. We also have, of course, our Inside the ALPO sections where we include our interest sections, such as the online and publication sections and the outreach sections that report on how what improvements they're making into their programs, as well as the observing sections, which give you the latest updates on what's occurring in their sections as well. And we also have a article written by Steve Sisikas establishing an ALPO radio astronomy section possibly in the future for the ALPO. Steve is on the board of directors of SARA, the Society of Amateur Radio Astronomers. And what Steve is trying to attempt to do is try to bend down the learning curve on radio astronomy so that visual observers can participate in making radio observations. And whether this will be a success or not, time will tell. But initially, our own board of directors and the ALPO and others are excited about creating this section. So we'll see what happens with that. And then we do have a preview of the Perseus meteor shower in August. Actually, Bob Lunsford, our coordinator for the meteor section, has included a handy chart showing the drift of the radiant for that meteor shower from July until late August, and also explains how one can do observations almost immediately for the ALPO, including a handy reporting form incorporated in the article. So, and the beauty of this is you don't need a telescope, just need a comfortable lawn chair to sit in and a red light maybe and a clipboard to put your observing form and mark off how many meteors you're seeing per hour and other comments about the visual aspects of the meteor shower. And we have a report on Carrington rotations toward the end of 2020 involving the sun. And the takeaway from this article, of course, is that we're getting an uptick on lunar activity and sunspot numbers now. It's beginning to show in the images and charts that Rick Hell, our solar coordinator, has presented in that article. And then we have a preview of the Venus apparition, or I should say a summary of the Venus apparition, Eastern evening apparition of 5 years ago. And Julius Benton, our coordinator there, shows a variety and analyzes a variety of visual drawings as well as imaging of the of Venus and all the meteorological phenomena that can be recorded, either seen visually or through imaging through digital imaging. And then we also have a report on lunar domes. Lunar domes survey is one of the programs within the lunar section. And it started out as a cataloging operation way back in the 1960s. And this is actually the third reincarnation of the program. The program has been shut down various times from lack of interest, but the two coordinators here, Raphael Lina of Italy and Jim Phillips of South Carolina, have been able to use imaging and use computer modeling to actually create an image or at least a 3D model of some of these domes to better classify them. And this is, again, is a very fascinating article on how they're able to do this sort of thing. And then we do have lastly, a article about the one of the Mars, or I should say Jupiter apparitions of 2017, 2018, where Richard Schmude, our coordinator for that section, does a wonderful job of tracking the storms on Jupiter, their drift rates across the atmosphere, and also Jupiter's atmosphere, as well as the changes in the belts and zones that occur either seasonally or long term. Now, the ALPO, as I said earlier, does have a website, and the website, at the website, we can say that generally all of our sections and programs are represented there. Most sections of programs have literature that can be downloaded from the website to get the amateur started in observing a particular planetary body. And these include observing forms. We also have on each of these web pages for each section, we have a section of materials that also correspond to updates. So this would be things occurring at the time that we simply can't get in quick enough into the journal, because the journal is published quarterly. And so our network of observers for a particular planet or solar system phenomena check in regularly with these web pages, and for also including observer alerts. And the observations that are posted on these pages are your observations that you submit to coordinators. And some of these sections also have section newsletters that are either put out quarterly or monthly, such as the Minor Planets Bulletin, which is produced quarterly. I should say Minor Planet Bulletin. We have a Minor Planet section. I don't know how that name got that way, but it's always been called the Minor Planet Bulletin. But it will even dwarf the size of the journal in terms of content. It's a quite active section that does things from just taking light curves to actually doing some 3D modeling of planetary bodies, minor planetary bodies. We also have the Lunar Observer, which is put out monthly. David Teskey, who leads the Lunar Topographic Study section, puts this out, but all ALPO programs are represented in there. And so you'll maybe in an issue, you might encounter reports about lunar transient phenomena. Some articles about lunar domes also in there. And also you may encounter some other material with programs that may not necessarily be that active, but will clue you into what's going on currently with and how observers are reporting their observations. And we also have a comets news, monthly news, what Carl Hergenrother puts out. It's basically a guide for observing comets that will be visible in the upcoming months, as well as giving you observations and images of comets that are currently viewable and how visible they are. We have something else here that adds a little bit more dimension to the ALPO website. These are called the ALPO section galleries, and they are a little bit more detailed in the section web pages in that they have a lot of archival images of observations of ALPO observers going back some years for practically each planet, as well as for solar system, solar sun observations and that sort of thing. We also have a library of past journals going back to our original first issue in 1947. They include all journals up to about maybe within 2 years of our current publishing date. We also, through the publication section galleries, we also have the ALPO monograph series that can be downloaded. We have 15 monographs currently out there for downloading, and As you can see here by some of these images here to the right, these galleries that are headed by particular observing topics or particular observing bodies. They go back quite a few years and are quite detailed, and I would invite you to go out there. These can be looked at. You don't have to be an ALPO, paid ALPO member to look at these, and they're quite fascinating in their own right to study and simply absorb. And of course, with our outreach section, if you are interested in observing for the ALPO, this is strictly optional, but if you're a novice to lunar and planetary observing, you can participate in the ALPO's Lunar and Planetary Training Program. Introductory training for visual observations of solar system bodies and phenomena is available. Tim Robertson coordinates this section, will be your tutor. The introductory training manual, the Novice Observer's Handbook, is available to paid ALPO members from a downlink, and this service is offered to paid ALPO members as a benefit of membership. And of course, we can't offer advanced training to special tutors in imaging and photometry if the ALPO member so desires. Tim does a great job of bringing observers along through visual observations and doing drawings, because it's the best way for a novice to engage without being overwhelmed with the technical issues that you would have with CCD imaging or other means of operating more complicated instrumentation where an observer can easily get overwhelmed. And of course, Tim also is the host of the ALPO podcast. Tim created these podcasts, the concept, in 2017. Tim and this program within the outreach section now boasts 121 separate programs. Tim mainly interviews ALPO staff about their programs and sections, but he also invites guests to talk about special topics that concern events concerning solar system astronomy. Most recent episodes include the International Sun Day, which Pam Shivak, one of our assistant coordinators for the solar section and also our coordinator for the youth section, which we'll talk about in a moment, does this on during the June solstice as kind of a day of celebrating the sun with amateurs globally, as well as getting novices and even people that aren't particularly interested in amateur astronomy noticing the sun more and promoting amateur astronomy and its interests in general. And also there was an interesting discussion about the lunar and total solar eclipses of this year earlier in the spring, particularly the lunar eclipse in May and the solar eclipse in June. And Tim will even do something a little bit offbeat, like Tim did an interview with one of the project managers for the James Webb Space Telescope, which was fascinating in its own right. And also, where there will be discussions in some of these podcasts about observing techniques such as those with planetary color filters. Tim interviewed a leading expert in the field, which explained how color filters work and why they're so important, either visually or through using advanced instrumentation. And of course, there's even an interview with the ALPO's Jerry Hubble, which is the new section coordinator for the new exoplanet section, and the prospects, what we're in anticipation of what we're expecting out of that program, or I should say section. And of course, I talked about the ALPO youth program briefly, and that the goal of the ALPO youth program is to encourage children and young adults to take an interest in astronomy, space, and outreach. I know there's a lot of consternation about memberships growing older, whether it's local astronomy clubs or national or international organizations like ours. And the take I have on it isn't that we're growing older, but we tend to attract older people in the first place. they may have had a brush with astronomy, but they come back to it when their lives get settled down and in their 50s and late 40s. And what we're trying to do right now is have the same kind of stimulation that these people that are getting back to amateur astronomy had when they were younger. And the goal will be achieved by forming an alliance between astronomy clubs and other STEM and educational entities that PAM is trying to do. This third bullet is a quote from Pam's website. She says, "It's our hope that with the ardent and ongoing effort formed with these organizations, we can come up with fun and creative ways to get youth involved with any and all aspects of space and science while educating them in the process." And this and many other items that I've talked about in this discussion and presentation can be accessed directly through the ALPO's website main page. And I will give you a list of URLs that you can go to at the end of this presentation, although I think it's pretty easy to find what you're looking for on the ALPO's webpage because we have all the links presented there. And just for, this is kind of going over some old ground, but just to let you know that a lot of our sections, not many right now, but we're still trying to get ourselves reestablished on IO groups. We were fairly well represented on Yahoo groups until that went away in December, but we do have section coordinators that monitor these groups, and you can get in touch with them if you want to be a part of the email chains that come out of these observing sections of programs. And of course, I told you about the YouTube page that we have, and I can give you the URL on that a little later. We have a variety of presentations on the YouTube page, including presentations from our last ALPO conference in 2020, which was virtual. And of course, I already alluded to our Facebook and Twitter pages. We have actually two separate Facebook pages, one general one for the ALPO and the other for the youth section. Many of our ALPO coordinators are published through independent publishers like Springer. I think we might have 24 or more ALPO coordinators that have extensive manuals published through either Springer or other publishers, and you can go check those out on Springer's website. And I think actually there may even be links to some of these publications on the ALPO section pages. And of course, we have had in-person conferences every year that the ALPO has hosted since 1956. And these include paper sessions where ALPO members, coordinators, and really people that are just plain ALPO members who might have something to say about their observations and studies present to the rest of the attendees at these conventions. Many times we meet with, co-meet with a group like the Astronomical League at one of their Alcons. Sometimes we'll meet with another organization or have an independent meeting. This year's meeting is going to be virtual again, and can be reached. I'll tell you a little bit about that in just a moment. But the thing I liked about the in-person conventions when we had them, and we'll go back to having those probably in 2022, is that you get to talk to ALPO people directly. If you just not in the QA after a presentation, but you can go up to them and discuss your issues and problems and how and get positive feedback from these people. They're ALPO coordinators of our observing sections of programs are some of the most affable people you'd want to meet. And of course, you might see us at other conferences and star parties and see our ALPO table set up with free literature. And all I can do is say, stop on by and pick up some items and share them with your friends at your local astronomy club. And just as a brief word, some people ask, is this real science that we actually do? I think maybe I've already made the point, yes, but I do want to stress that amateur astronomers are often the astronomical community's early warning system for changing aspects of lunar and planetary astronomy. Amateurs have been the first to detect dust storms and transient cloud features on Mars, storm outbreaks on Jupiter and Saturn, possible volcanic eruptions on Venus, although this is kind of hedging a little bit because There have been some independent studies done on this sort of thing, looking at the Venus meteorology, but the jury is out on that, whether or not these can really be detected or not. But we also have had meteoroid and asteroid impacts on the moon and Jupiter that have been recorded by ALPO members, as well as meteor storms that sometimes will come up and are recorded through the meteor section. And with comets, bright outbursts, splitting events, rare coma and tail morphologies are often seen by amateurs early on before professionals know about them. And amateurs are still making a significant contribution in the discovery of comets. I know Don Malkotz, who is a internationally recognized comet observer, I think has discovered close to a dozen comets, but in the last 5 to 7 years, I think he's discovered 3 new ones. And so amateurs are on the forefront of also the long time scale studies such as asteroid light curves, brightness measurements of comets, and long-term photometric changes of the brighter planets. And so you're probably saying at this time, boy, I'm really excited about this ALPO thing. How can I join the ALPO? Well, it's pretty simple. If you're interested in joining the ALPO, you can either join it for 1 year and get 4 issues, or 2 years for 8 issues. If you get the digital journal, it's cheaper. If you get the paper journal, you'll also have access to the digital journal. These are our rates currently. They may go up at the first of the year. We haven't really decided if we'll do that or not, but lock into some low rates now just in case. You can either pay for your membership by check or online through the Astronomical League's website. We have an agreement with them where you can get on the AL's online store and purchase it through your credit card or PayPal account. And I'll have some more information on that in just a moment. But what I'd like to do is give you one final word, an invitation here to join us for the 2021 ALPO virtual conference. This will occur Friday afternoon on August 13th and Saturday afternoon on August 14th. And it will begin at 12 noon Eastern Daylight Time and conclude 5 p.m. In the afternoon. And for paid ALPO members, this will be available on Zoom, but if you're not an ALPO member, you can still take part in the fun by checking out our YouTube channel. And the Zoom links, however, will allow paid ALPO members to participate in the Q&A after a discussion. And of course, with in-person conventions, we would normally have a Saturday evening banquet where we would have a keynote speaker speak to us about a topic in amateur astronomy. This year, you'll have to bring your own food, but we will have a Saturday evening keynote speaker, and that will be world-renowned astroimager Damian Peach, and he'll share with us some of his insights into lunar and planetary imaging. And so I just would like to conclude by saying that through the hard work and dedication of ALPO staff, the mission of the ALPO to disseminate observational information and data from amateur astronomers through a variety of means continues. Thanks to an interested membership, the mission is supported and lives on. Whether you are an active observer that could benefit from the support of our observing sections, or one that might enjoy being stimulated by the content of our journal, come join us. And I thank you for allowing me to take up a little bit over a half hour of your time talking about the ALPO.
Thank you very much, Matthew. That was a very good introduction and a very good talk about what ALPO does. Does anybody have any questions? I think we have time for some questions here, either from the room or from out in the virtual world out there. Does anybody have a question? Remember to unmute if you want to ask a question.
No, I don't.
No question? Yeah, go ahead.
I've got a question about observing meteor showers. And if anybody in the group has tried to look at trying to pinpoint their vectors and triangulate them to see how local they are, or where they are in 3D.
Mhm.
Did everybody hear that question?
Could you repeat that?
Just, yeah, one thing I've always been curious about for meteor showers is like, has there been any efforts to try to locate the vector, the observed vector of a meteor in 3D by triangulating across multiple observers?
Well, I think Bob Lunsford, our coordinator, would be better at answering that question. I do know this, that there has been extensive studies about meteoroid clouds, and over the years, Bob incidentally has his foot planted in 2 different organizations. He's also on the board of directors for the American Meteor Society. And they've been, I think, instrumental in trying to establish that that some reoccurring meteor showers are really a matter of perspective. And I'm going to get tongue-tied if I go into it in any more detail than that. But they have really done a lot of hardcore work on really digging in deep on a lot of the analysis. And the only thing I can say is if you have a question about that, you could talk to Bob Lunsford. I know I'm not trying to sell Bob's book through Springer, but Bob has written extensively about some of the research angles, and him and his group have done a lot of different ways of observing using radio astronomy to some extent, and have, you know, I portray it as a simple process to participate in, which it is, but they have gone really heavy in on the research, and I really can't speak to that as an expert in meteor studies.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much, Matthew, for speaking to us here tonight. And
Well, it's been my pleasure.
thank you very much. And maybe we could just give a virtual round of applause for your talk here tonight.
Well, thank you. I'll take a bow.
A
A virtual bow.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that. And you're welcome to stay on as long as you want to here. We do have some other things to take care of here.
I'll probably have to duck out, but I thank you very much for the invitation.
Okay. Thank you very much again.
Okay, and I'll sign off here. Thanks again, and it was great meeting you all.
All right, thanks. Yep.
Opening the chat so in case anybody
Oh, yeah.
had to check question.
No,
Nobody did.
nobody did. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. All right. The other thing that we have kind of on the docket here tonight. Let me go back to my agenda. And I guess what I would suggest is if anybody is definitely not interested in attending a business meeting for the club, you can drop off. You know, if you're a visitor or you know, not from our club and don't care about, you know, business related things, you can drop off. You can stay on if you want to, but you can't vote, I guess, if we have to. If we have to make a decision. And I think we do. So let me see here. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see, what did I do? Okay, yeah. Hopefully you see my screen here again.
Yeah,
Oops, we gotta,
you gotta move them.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I moved. Got it? Okay, so I'm gonna call our business meeting to order, and hopefully this won't take too long. But we have a couple of items here. The first item I've got down here is we have a need right now to have a new temporary, I guess, or short-term secretary person to fill in for Terry Dufek. Terry Dufek, I don't know if you can see Terry here in the room. Maybe you could just.
I can see.
Okay. Terry Dufek has asked to be relieved of duty as secretary. And so we've been twisting some arms around here, and Paul Levesque over here in the blue shirt has actually been pretty much doing a lot of the secretarial things, because he's been serving as the newsletter editor for the past, how long now? Several months.
February, March.
Yeah.
Where it all started.
Yeah, Terry was doing the newsletter as well, and Paul stepped in to help out with that, and has done a really great job on an interim basis, doing the newsletter, and hopefully you won't get mad at us and stop doing that, because you're doing a good job. But I guess what I'd like to have is maybe a motion to the effect that we would put Paul Levesque forward as the candidate for secretary to replace Terry Dufek, whose term actually ends in December. So you would only be on the hook till December, and then you'd be up for re-election, I guess. But so can I hear a motion from?
so moved.
Who was that?
Was that Wayland?
Yeah,
That was Wayland.
the second.
And so Wayland made a motion to put Paul Levesque out as candidate for interim secretary till December, and Rusty Case seconded that motion. So can I have a vote of the membership? All in favor of electing Paul as interim secretary, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, so I think the ayes have it, the yeses have it. Paul, you are now the secretary.
Officially.
Officially. You're officially the
Our
secretary.
newsletter. Keep sending me stuff in the newsletter. I really,
Yeah,
it's your newsletter, not mine, so
right.
we'll never know that.
So you're the newsletter editor and the secretary now, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Okay, that's on a real subject.
You're doing a great job. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you're doing fine. So.
Right.
So now, next item that I have here on our agenda is we have elections in December. And I don't know if there's anything that is actionable tonight in regard to this, other than I just want to point this out. December is when all of our terms are up: president, vice president, treasurer, observatory director, Alcor, and secretary, all are open for candidates. And I really would like to encourage people to think about this. We have a really fantastic club. I think it's one of the best clubs in the astronomical leagues. Of course, I'm biased when I say that, but I think it's true. When you see how active we are, all the club observing sessions, the private observing sessions that we have, and all the public outreach that we do, We have 2 observatories. We've got a mobile observatory and a fixed observatory south of Milan. And we have an active membership. And we have a growing membership right now too. So it's a great club, and I would encourage anybody with any, ideas, step forward, inquire, talk to one of our board members. You can talk to me, Al Scheidler, the president. Vice president is Dino Milani. You can talk to him about vice president. Treasurer is Dale Hatchell, and he's doing a great job. Observatory director is Rusty Case. Rusty's done a bang-up job, I think, with observatories. We've refurbished both of our observatories under
On the interior of the PAC Meeting.
under your belt. Yeah, there's always going to be something that needs fixing, and that's why we like Rusty, because he can fix it.
I have an idea. I'll bring it up.
Alcor is Roy Gustafson. And for those of you that don't know what Alcor is, that's the Astronomical League correspondent. So this is the person that officially communicates with the Astronomical League, and there's other duties there too. And of course, secretary is Paul now, and Terry, I'm sure, would give you advice too. Terry Dufek, who was the secretary, he's had a lot of experience. So think about it. All these posts are open. Some of us have been in our jobs for quite a while. I've been president. I will have been president for 6 years. I was vice president for 6 years. I would like to suggest somebody consider running for president. You're not going to make me mad. So anyway, enough said on that. Think about it. I think Dino, our vice president, has suggested that he could be the person that would kind of be persuasive to people that had questions. So if he talks to you, listen to him. You want to say something, Dino? Is Dino on here?
Not sure I saw him.
I didn't believe I saw them on the list.
Okay, I thought I heard somebody say something there, but anyway,
That's Roy.
if
Hey, I heard that.
if anybody has any questions, talk to one of us, and we'll be happy to bend your ear and twist your arm. Sounds painful. So I guess with that, could we just do a quick round robin report here from our board members, and maybe I'll just start here with the treasurer, Dale Hatchell.
Okay,
You want me to see if I can?
you can, we probably don't have a whole lot here that we need to follow the numbers other than in the current accounting period. We had receipts of consisting of a new and 3 renewals on membership and a program donation from one program that we did. Totaled $335 and some change. In expenses for the period, we had a contribution for a program, or donate. We paid honorarium for a program on the ancient North American Sky Watchers, and then we had the annual expenses, actual semi-annual, for storage of the PACMO at our rental facility there. So we spent $345 and some change, which gave us for the period a net of minus $10. Spent $10 more than we took in. That means our bottom line assets, including the check account, savings account, and well, has some undeposited checks that came in the last day of the period, totaled $7,834.74. That's what we had. Any questions? And I believe this report too will show up in the next newsletter.
It should be in the, I like to see the financials published in the newsletter
Mhm.
every quarter, that everybody knows what our needs are for donations and you know, what our turnover is, I guess, financially. So good. If there's no further questions for Dale and Rusty, our observatory director, do you want to make any comments?
Not really a whole lot. We got, finally got the backmow out. Been out a few times, working rather well. I have found a little minor issues on the interior we need to, you know, look at some point in time. It's nothing serious. The Paul Castle Observatory is definitely up and running, and we've had no problems with that. So, again, anybody that wants to learn to use that, get one of us, and you know, we can train you what you need to know. So,
Yes, I'd like to encourage that too. I've been using the observatory. It's very convenient. You just open it up, turn it on,
and away you go.
and away you go. It can't get any simpler than that.
Yep.
There's a little training. There's a little bit you gotta know, but it's not hard.
Yep.
Okay.
It's in the air.
Let's see. I guess Dino's not on, so we can't get a report from Dino. Alcor is Roy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but about the only thing we have here, again, not a whole lot. The art club voted for the secretary and treasurer, which came due. So we voted for Terry Mann for the secretary and Bill Dillon for treasurer of Alcor, of the Astronomical League, I should say. So, I mean, I could read their bios if you want, but they're good guys and they've been very involved in the Astronomical League. So each club gets one vote, and at our board meeting, we just voted for these guys. The only other thing is reporting from Alcor is they're trying to get the finances all together in the Astronomical League. So they can, the league, the national, like the natural can take advantage of the 501(c)(3) status that the Astronomical League has. So we got the paperwork. I got the paperwork all done, and now the North Central Region Astronomical League, which we're a member of, is now we carry the same EIN number as the Astronomical League. So if you choose to make a donation to the North Central Region, it is now tax deductible. Before it wasn't, because we weren't covered by 501(c)(3). But I think I'd rather have you donate to the Popular Astronomy Club, which is tax deductible. Then you get a nice little tax write-off or whatever. So that's about it for the Alcor.
Okay. And then secretary, I don't know, Terry or Paul, either of you as secretary have anything? You don't probably have anything yet, other than you just want any photos or information,
Whatever you
yeah,
want.
club activities, feedback, suggestions, if there's something people want particularly feel strongly about.
Positive, comments, whatever. What do you like? What do you don't?
Okay. All right, are there any other items, anything I forgot to mention? But
I have one announcement to make, and that this is your last chance to donate to the Popular Astronomy Club through the John Deere Birdies for Charity organization, which is very profitable in all ways because the Birdies for Charity organization has promised a 5%, as they have in the past, added to your donation, which comes then to the Popular Astronomy Club from the John Deere Charities organization. So the deadline is coming up real soon. I believe it's at the end of this week. So the best way to donate is to go to www.birdiesforcharity.com. And all of this information is also in your latest newsletter. And if you do go to that website, it's also easy to donate there. Just be sure to look, scroll down to the Popular Astronomy Club on the charities list when you make your donation. So that it's sure to go to the right place. This week is your last chance.
Yeah, that's a good program. Where else can you go and get a, it's a minimum 5% match. Sometimes it's more than
Guaranteed.
10%. So where else can you go and get an automatic 5 to 10% match to your donation?
We're hoping that it will be a little bit more than that, given that John Deere seems to be having a pretty good year anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll come across with a little bonus there.
Okay, thank you for that reminder. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns that?
I have an announcement.
Okay,
I just want to remind everybody our annual picnic is going to be Saturday night, August 14th. We'll start at 6:30 at the Paul Castle Memorial Observatory. Grill will be available there, so if you want to grill anything, bring that with you. You can also bring a dish to pass to share with others. Bring your own non-alcoholic beverage that you want to drink, and chairs or table or blankets, and hopefully it'll be a nice clear sky where we can stay around and watch some of the meteor show.
okay, Waylon and Ann are going to be the coordinators for the PAC picnic. And these picnics are a lot of fun. And hopefully it'll be clear. And we can have some observing and show off the observatory again and get some observing time in, as well as enjoy each other's fellowship. And that is August 14th.
Saturday, August 14th, starting at 6:30.
6:30. Okay, good. Thank you. Are there any other announcements or concerns, questions? If not, can I have a motion of some sort?
Move adjourned.
Okay, I heard a motion to adjourn the business meeting by Dale. Can I have a second to that motion?
Supported.
Yep, second.
Okay, who is the second?
Me. Byron.
Oh, Byron. Okay,
Byron?
Dr. Byron.
Dr. Byron.
Second motion. So all in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? If you want to continue it, you can keep going. Okay, we're adjourned. That's the business meeting. Now, I do want to remind you of some upcoming events that are coming. Tomorrow night, June 15th, we are hoping to have clear weather. I think the weather forecast is pretty good for tomorrow night. Some of us are going up to John Deere Middle School to have an observing session there. I think the teacher that's in charge of that is going to be there at 7:30 he's got a new telescope he hasn't even tried yet. So we got to unpack that and take a look at it. And he has a brand new HD CPC 1100, just like the one we have in our observatory. And we did try that the other night.
Yeah.
And it's a nice scope. I got to remember to bring the batteries.
Did you bring, or did he find out about setting up the global time zone?
Oh, I don't know if you did or not.
Yeah.
Are you available just for a little while to help us with that?
I can try.
I mean,
I'll see what I can do.
see what you can do. Dale, you were going to go,
I'm
and Roy was going to go. I think. Roy, are you still planning to be there?
Yeah, I still plan on being there, yeah.
Okay, so I think we got enough people to handle it. I'm going to be there, and we're going to use their telescope. So I don't think there's a lot of effort on our part. It's just being there, answering questions, helping with the scope, making sure that because they're inexperienced. You know, the teacher, Chad Potter's his name. He's really a smart guy and a good guy, but he doesn't have a lot of experience with this stuff. So I think for a little while, we might need a little help, and that's why we're there. So that's tomorrow night. I don't think we need more volunteers stepping up and than what we already have. So I appreciate that. Niabi Zoo, we have our observing session this Saturday, the 19th. And then I want to mention these things. Dr. Mitchell, these are QCAS meeting items. You have a meeting on June 21st. And then I don't know if you want to say anything about that if you're still on the line. You may not still be there. So there is a QCAS meeting. If you can't get enough astronomy, we can join that. And you don't have to wear masks. So I would suggest coming back if you can. The talk is going to be about Green Bank Observatory. That's a radio astronomy observatory in West Virginia. It's a virtual tour and current projects. And I'm not sure who the speaker is yet. I don't know that we've identified who the speaker is, but there'll be a speaker. I just don't know who it is. Then the Menke Public Observing Night is July 10th for Quad City Astronomical Society. Then we have the Niabi Zoo session July 17th. And then QCAS has another regular meeting on July 19th. And then another interesting one that we have coming up on July years ago, they invited us to come back again, and we had a hoop last time we were out there. It was beautiful too, and the alpacas are cute. So anyway, we'll need some help on that. And then QCAS has their meteor party August 7th, and I don't know the details of that. Maybe somebody else knows. I don't know the details on that. And then our PAC picnic that Wayland mentioned is August 14th, and that's a picnic and grill session and observing session. The weather's good. So, did I forget anything? Or anybody have any other outreach requests or anything else?
Don't read the show. Byron's pictures.
Okay, I have a request. I have a request here to show Byron's pictures. Let me see here. I've got them. Can I share them? That's the question. No, that's not right. Let me see here. I want to share something, but not what I was sharing. Let's see here. It's this right here. There we go. Share this.
There we go, Kate.
You should be seeing this right here. Whoops. What did I just do?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go. Why does it say, please move this window away from the shared application? That's what I want to share. Can you see that?
No, there's
No,
nothing
it's
there.
a blank screen.
Just a blank box.
What's going on here? These Zoom meetings are not the best. Is there a way I can share that screen right there? That's what I need to share.
Where's Sherry? Should be able to. Well, that was the screen there.
Ah,
That's it. Just go.
Why
So
does
like
that
that
have to
one.
be so complicated? Okay, and now
No,
am
you
I
got it.
sharing the right one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Dr. Byron, you want to explain what this is?
Hold on, I lost my screen here.
No,
Wait a minute, I'm sharing it and you lost it. Oh, there we go. I got it back. Yeah, that's M13. And I use my Skywatcher Quattro Pro with my Canon T3i. I don't remember. I think that was a short exposure. I don't remember what all I had the settings at. But that was out at Minky this weekend. I crashed their star party.
Yes, we did.
That's okay. They can crash ours too, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Public viewing night.
Yep.
Of course, that's the Western Vale. That's the witch's broom too, correct? That's what they call that?
Yeah. It looks like a witch's broom.
Yeah. And there again, I that was 5 minutes or maybe 6 minutes. I don't remember.
300 seconds.
Oh, yeah, 5 minutes.
Yep. That's nice. I like the color.
Yeah, no filters, just straight shot to the camera. I didn't realize it would color like that, but it's pretty amazing to see all that color.
Yeah.
And all the stars. I mean, you punch that up and my gosh, look at the stars.
Yeah.
It's like a cloud.
How big is this object?
That I couldn't tell you without looking up the stats on it.
I mean, as far as in the sky, it's pretty big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's an F4 on the Newtonian.
Slip road.
Yeah.
And the F4, I mean, you remember how big the rosette is. I can just barely get the rosette into that if I center it into that field of view of that scope. So it's every bit as wide as the rosette, pretty much. There's your North American. That's one angle I took of it. Then I turned the camera and took another shot, but that's unfiltered also. Eastern Vale.
Now,
That's probably
that's the same. That's the other side of the witch's broom.
Yeah.
Basically, right?
Yeah, because it's separated a little bit.
Cool. Very cool.
very good viewing conditions. There's your fireworks galaxy.
Can I enlarge that?
Yeah.
Wow. There's a lot of detail, a lot of color.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my other shot of the North American.
There's a lot of red in that.
Yeah. Yeah, I turned the camera about, I'd say 180 degrees on the focuser, and then shot it, see if I could get a different, if I could get it in there better than I did the first time. And I ran that one, I think, a little bit longer. And maybe the ISO was a little bit different. I got more color out of it.
Yeah, 360 seconds, it says.
That's 6 minutes.
Nice.
Doing on-camera guiding on the scope on the ABX mount.
Now,
And
this one here is not yours, but this is Steve Sinkman. And I don't know exactly how he took this picture. I don't know if Steve's on the line or not, but
Is that the same night?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
That's a nice view too. It's magnified a little more than yours.
Yeah.
But there's some really high quality.
Yeah, if Steve's not on the line, this is Jim Rudenbeck. He emailed me and said that was taken with his 400 millimeter focal length telephoto lens and his camera. And I think he took 3-minute exposures and stacked 20 of them. I'm going from memory here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so that's really a long exposure.
Kind of interesting that in his image, he doesn't have as much red as Byron had. So I don't know if it's a difference in cameras. Of course, Byron had a lot larger grass telescope.
Yeah, and that camera's not modified. It's stock. I mean, it's stock. I'd imagine if I took that filter out, that it would probably show a lot more red.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of red there, though, and I don't see that in Steve's picture. That's interesting.
I'll tell you what, that Sky Watcher, that is an imaging machine.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing that I'll tell you, one of the things that I like about it in these pictures, and I know it's kind of a defect, but I like these spikes coming out of the sky.
I like that too. Yeah, from the spider veins on the
Right.
secondary.
Yeah, it can't be helped, I guess, but I think it looks cool.
I do too. I like it.
So it looks like a real telescope, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you want to take advantage of the defects that you have and call it an advantage, right?
That's right. When I was at the Putnam showing pictures, a few people commented on that and said, "Is that what causes that?" And I had to explain to them, and they thought that looks really cool.
Yeah. And that's a really nice M13.
That's the best one I've ever taken.
Is there a galaxy over here to the left?
Yeah, there is. I don't know. I didn't look up to see what it is, but there's definitely what do you call it? A stowaway in there, I guess.
Yeah.
Hiding in the background.
92 now, 10th or 11th.
See, if I can find it, I can show you my M13.
Galaxy.
Yeah, a comment about that galaxy. I remember one of the few times that I've looked through Cecil Ward's 30-inch Newtonian, and we looked at M13, and that galaxy looked pretty impressive in the 30-inch scope.
Yeah. I don't know if I can quickly, here. When did I look at M13 here? No, it wasn't here. It was time before. Oh, here, I can show you this. This is nice. Here's a group photo. That was June 4th out at the Paul Castle Observatory, and of course you got Rusty, Byron, and this is Chad Potter, the school teacher that we're going to be meeting tomorrow night at John Deere Middle School. That's Alan Nordic and yours truly. And this is the new telescope that Chad Potter bought for the school.
Okay.
We don't see anything.
It's not sharing because we're not seeing it.
Oh, man. Okay, hang on a second.
I'm sure it was good on your computer.
Yeah, it looks real good on my computer. Oh, man. I need an easier way to do this stuff.
Top 6 cables.
Here's. This stuff we should share.
Yeah, I gotta put it on the desktop, don't I?
Oh, yeah.
So if I go up here and share that. Now you see it?
Yeah, yeah.
You see it now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, there's Chad Potter right there. And that's his new telescope. And I don't know, I got some pictures in here. Mine don't compare to anything like Byron's or Steve's, but I nailed a carbon star right there.
Yep.
Most of the carbon stars are kind of in your face orange.
Yeah.
Most of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are orange, so you can tell. And this was M27, which wasn't too bad.
Very nice.
And this is just a snapshot, you know, it's like a 20-second snapshot maybe at a high ISO, so you get a lot of graininess, but. And Ring Nebula, that didn't turn out too bad.
That's real good.
There's some more carbon stars. Some of those, and now this is Venus. And I don't know if Jeff's still on the line, but I borrowed Jeff's this atmospheric dispersion corrector and tried it out. This is what Venus looks like through the CPC 1100 without any correction at all. And you can see, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but I'll zoom in on it, you can really see it. Venus shouldn't have a rainbow color effect like that. It's because of it's being so low in the atmosphere of Earth in our western sky that the atmosphere causes the light to disperse into the colors of rainbow, basically. And there's really nothing you can do about it, you know, with the optics of your telescope. But they have come up with these variable prisms that you can counteract this effect. And so anyway, this is the effect that you get without any correction. And that is the effect I got after correcting. And I think you would agree, it may not be perfect, but it's pretty doggone perfect.
Yeah.
That's about as good a view as I'm going to get of Venus when it's on the other side of the solar system. I mean,
That's pretty amazing, the amount of improvement. Alan, did you have to fiddle around very much with this that result?
Well, actually, no. Let me just have full disclosure here. Like, I think I had a. Hang on, here. I put together. I did this for Jeff since he allowed me to use his dispersion corrector. I gave him the report back on it. And so this is no corrections. That's the picture I just showed you. Now this, I attempted to correct it just using the stacking software. This was a video image. This was a stacking of, like, I don't know, 30 seconds of video frames. And I used AutoStacker to do that stacking. And in AutoStacker, you can tell it to realign RGB in the stacking, and you can see it helps. That's the original, and that's after doing the alignment. But the problem is you get a fuzzier, you lose resolution, and it didn't completely eliminate the color fringes. And this is what I got, Jim. That's about the best I could do with the dispersion corrector. You can see there's still a little bit of fringes there. And if I would have fiddled around with it a little longer, I could have probably got it a little better. But it was getting so doggone low in the sky. I was already shooting through the trees when I did this. And then when I took the best image I got here with the corrector, and then I did an RGB line and AutoStacker, it came up with a pretty good view. So does that
I must say, I own one of those ADCs. I've never used it. Recently, I've thought I should just sell that thing. But after seeing what you just demonstrated, I guess I better keep it.
Well, if you want to sell it, how much would you sell it for? I'll buy it from you. Because I'm probably going to get one. I just haven't had time to do it.
Okay. I don't know, as frequently as I use it, I certainly could loan it to you and you could use it a little more.
Well, I wanted to try it before I bought one, but I'm convinced it works. It's not perfect, Jim, but you know, if you take a video frames of these planets and stack them, if you get your dispersion corrector pretty well adjusted, you can nail it with the software then. I'm gonna try it on something that actually has some features to it, you know, like Jupiter or Saturn. I haven't done that yet, but it'll work, I think. Anyway, I don't want to show you too many more of my pictures. Mine aren't anywhere near as spellbinding as Byron's. Anybody else have anything? I guess if nobody else has anything, I would suggest it's been an hour and a half. We could probably adjourn here and go home or go out and observe. Have a piece of pie or something.
Yep.
What you want to do?
Don't do, go home and.
Go home and have a piece of pie.
Yep.
I go home and shoot up.
So anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining. And if there aren't any further comments or questions, I guess I would suggest we adjourn. Oh, one other comment I would like to make. I would like to really thank everybody for helping out yesterday and Saturday at the Putnam Museum. That was a fantastic event that we had there. They had over 400 visitors, and I counted them up. There was 20 PAC members that were there over the 2 days, and a lot of us were there both days. There was 20 altogether, so it was really a wonderful effort. And I really
Oh,
thank
the
people for doing it.
flight simulator? Yeah, I crashed it twice.
Anyway,
I crashed the plane twice.
if you don't have anything else to discuss, I guess I would vote for saying bye-bye.
We'll see you tomorrow night then.
We'll see you tomorrow night
Yep, at John Deere.
at John Deere. Yep, 7:30. All right. Thank you.
Bye, Roy.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Good night, Billy Bob.
Good night, John Boy.
Night, John. Hey, night, John boy. I'm trying to leave the meeting, but I can't. How come?
I couldn't shut you up, Roy.
You know, all we see is the top of your head anyway.